Welcome to the Nexus Unloaded podcast. This is Will Crozier.
And I'm Zach Congonis. We are here to bring you the best solutions to your lifting problems. Through our real-world experience, we hope to break things down in a digestible, applicable, and entertaining way.
We are back, and we're at a... Not the people... I don't think people know exactly when we record these usually, but
I bet no one does.
This is a bit of an extra one because next week, actually this Saturday, Mickey and I fly down to Melbourne to get there a week before I compete, and try and relax and use. I got to go down. I've got to use the forward-facing one. I've never actually used one, so I'm going to head down and maybe do a couple of reps on that early in the week, and also the Dominator bench I've been benching on, like our benches, which are much wider and a little bit higher as well. So just do a couple of little reps on them and get used to the equipment. So we are filming this one early. So this one's actually, not our typical Tuesday recording. We are slamming one together, and it might be, I don't know, Zach, what you've got planned.
Very evidently, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know whether it'll be like super obvious whether we haven't done the even like small amount of planning that we usually do, because it's not like we're like ever super professional with it anyway and put together a good plan. But we usually we plan a little bit, you know.
There's structured topics. This one, me and Will sat down after the team meeting this morning, and Will said, "You got any topics?" And I was like, "Give me 15 minutes." And this is what I came up with.
I actually believe he's had 14 minutes. So, this one might be a little bit like that.
15 topics in 15 minutes.
I believe you've got, some various things for us to give our short, sharp opinions on. And I'm sure more things will stem off them, some of which might lead to rants and very weird places and things like that. I'm, like everyone knows, I'm just over a week out and currently going through the dieting phase of this. So I'm hungry and I'm slightly pissed off already. So who knows where these will go.
Before we get stuck into this, though, I just want to give a shout out, because obviously you've mentioned Pro Raw and your competition and stuff like that. I just want to give a shout out to all the other Nexus athletes.
I was going to do it. Well,
I'm not going to name names.
When I say we don't usually plan this, me and Zach have discussed briefly doing like a recap, and we're going to recap through everyone.
Yes, we can do that. But I just want to give a special shout out to everyone that has.
Hit us.
I'm not going to name names. I'm just saying like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, you would have to remember everyone.
We've got like 10, 20 people.
You wouldn't want to forget just one person or something.
Yeah, fuck that. No, so I'm going to go through and I just want to give a special shout out to all those that competed at Pro Raw, because this would be aired after Pro Raw. Oh, yes. So special shout out to them. You did very well, and I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of all your efforts, except for that one person who did that one thing. Fuck you.
Yeah. Go on, man. Step your game up. Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people. So special shout out to the athletes, but there is a large amount of people that are actually travelling to Pro Raw this year.
Huge.
We've got a lot of people coming up from Tassie and from the gym here just to go and support all those guys. Coming? I'm not naming names, but I know, of Nexus coaches.
Yes, like the supporting acts. Immediate team.
So of the immediate team, we have Kirby flying up from Tassie. She is staying with Josh, Alex, and Jordan.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
So they're all staying in a house together, the four of them.
Yeah, party house.
And then we have our new member of the team of the Gold Coast team here, Kiva.
Yes.
He's not coming down, but I just wanted to give Kiva a little shout out.
Fucking hell.
That's just got my hopes up.
Crazy.
Absolutely had my hopes up then.
Well, I got
fuck,
Josh,
I really could have needed
and all these guys. Like, yeah.
You both talked over each other.
Sorry.
At the same time then.
What'd you say, Zach?
I said Will was like, fuck, I really could have used those positive affirmations.
Absolutely. Well, he already got Employee of the Month here as well. I already put it up on the board.
He's not even started yet.
He's always
Employee
of the Month.
His attitude got him over the line this month.
So special shout out to Kiva. He is our new gym assistant here on the Gold Coast. And then, those four: Kirby, Jordan, Josh and Alex are traveling.
Okay.
And then obviously we'll have Zach there, me and yourself. And then, the guys in Townsville are staying up north. So that's Artie, Danelle, and Jason.
They'll be watching
and Jack.
on.
Jack's staying up
Lots
north.
of people have messaged me and be like, oh, I can't wait to watch it and stuff like that. So, yes, appreciate that.
Should be good. Good times. All right. I'm going to pass the mic over to you. We do have Bowser in here again today. I've got him heavily distracted with a snuffle mat and bickies. So we'll see how we go with today.
I really wish they made snuffle mats for people. I reckon that would just be so fun. Just like get a big rug and sprinkle chocolate chips in it. And just sit there for 40 minutes finding him.
Could you imagine? Yeah, this is the way that I'm going to have him distracted. I had non-squeaky toys in here, and Will did bring in the one squeaky toy that we have in the gym. He brought it upstairs.
Yeah.
Bowser's very good at finding the squeaker, so he's going to get onto it. Cool. All right. That's it from me.
Alrighty, Zach. I'm
so the
slightly cautious about this, but I'm ready.
The general principle of this was a meme on TikTok, which I don't know if anyone has actually seen it, but it's giving a quick judgment call on something very simple very quickly. Trying not to go into too much depth. We will most likely go into depth to actually find some length to the episode. It's just yes or no, and that's it.
We're going to get through all the topics.
Otherwise
if
it'll be a 10-minute episode, and
we'll see how we go. But none of these topics are made to butthurt people. We're just having a conversation. We're just having a conversation about training.
Slightly more worried.
Different
definitely
modalities.
Going to butthurt people.
Look, and if you get butthurt, it's your own fault. Let's face it. Okay. Alrighty. So the first topic, which I would love Will's opinion on, and I guess my opinion as well, is just manual therapy in general. Go.
Manual therapy is massage and stuff?
Yeah, just generally being touched by someone, not yourself.
Overrated for the way most people apply it. Most people expect to walk into a room feeling like absolute arse and then, just get a little massage and a little bit of a touchy feels and then walk out feeling fresh and recovered and amazing and all my wounds will be healed, whereas that is absolutely not the case, and kind of why I feel bad for physios and other therapists that apply this sometimes, because that's the expectation. I feel bad for them because they're like, oh, I fucking broke my neck, can you massage me better? And then in 60 minutes they have the expectation that they're going to just be cured, and it just absolutely does not work like that. So I feel bad for the therapists out there that have to try and navigate that conversation and get the person to understand that.
I feel like physios have a really physios, chiros, whatever, therapists have a really hard job in having to people walking in with the
manage expectations. Yeah, fucking oath. I would hate that. I'd be like, look, it's definitely not that you're not sleeping, not eating, not training, and doing everything. It's that you need a massage. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
People just treat it like the be-all and end-all. They walk in with like this massive hole in a piece of drywall, and they're expecting the fucking physio to fix it with some sticky tape. It's like, no.
Exactly.
It has some great uses. It can be quite crucial for some people and just generally relaxing, but 99% of the time a massage is not what you need. And if it is what you need, you don't need someone getting 14 inches deep inside of you with their thumb. You need a chat and a rub down and fucking go have a nap.
Yeah, it's also a little bit of there's two sides to this as well, because you've got, and then the industry itself, the therapy industry, whether it be whatever variation, you've got people, I've seen it plenty of times, so I'm sure you have people that come out of uni and they're like excited to learn, they read every book, they've got all these ideas, really great ideas about getting people to do lots of different things that are going to make them feel better, and then that person walks in and they try to explain it to the first person, then they just don't do it, and then 5 years down the track, then they're just like, you know what, fuck, like I'm just sick of trying to get people to do these drills that they're not going to do, and then they end up just being a guy that just, massage, see you later. So I can see how that slippery slope happens in coaching as well. And then also you've got the people who just like every single industry, there are the bad eggs in it as well that don't do any research and just follow Instagram pages for their information, and they go, they use, I'm sure everybody's had this experience where you walk into like a massage guy and you're just like, you're like fucking, I don't know, 4 weeks out from a comp, and so like everything's tight. Of course everything's tight because you're lifting max weights, and then the dude is like he rubs your quad or whatever, and it's slightly tight. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's tight. Yeah, that's good Jesus." And you're just like, like it's a massive problem, and then they're like trying to fix it. And I'm like, man, it's fucking, I'm 4 weeks out, man. If I wasn't tight, I would be amazed. But then to the average person, they're like, they think, oh, tightness is a bad thing, and all this stuff. So like it's a real talker into issues industry a lot of the time, I find.
You know what I never understood? Like, every person has different tensions within their tissue. Like, somebody may just be generally stiffer than somebody else all the time. So how do you determine that something's tight if you've never seen that person before? Like, what are you referencing tightness from? It's like, I touched your muscle and I assessed range of motion. How do you know it's tight? Tight compared to reference person A? Like, it's a meaningless statement.
For what sport? For what goal?
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same as us saying like, oh yeah, like squats are good. Or, like it's just so broad and general and just not helpful in any way.
Especially when they go, ooh, yep. And then they rub you for a bit, like, oh yeah, that's better.
Jesus,
she's fixed.
yeah,
it's all good. And the tissue's now pliable again.
The strength test one where they like measure the strength of something and then they like measure it at the end and like miraculously it's just improved fucking dramatically and you're like, oh my God,
look how much stronger I am.
Oh wow. Now we're getting off. Now we're just going into therapy in general, but yeah.
I do remember a conversation that we had back when we lived out at Paradise Point and we were at the Coles there and there was a lady that was complaining about having like a sore neck and shoulders and stuff like that because of her role, like standing up all the time and whatever.
She was heavily overweight. Had a lot of issues that probably led to that. Those issues. Yeah,
just not generally a healthy sort of person. And she was complaining to the lady in the line in front of us, saying like, oh, I went and saw this physio. And, like, he just gave me exercises to do. Like, he didn't even massage me. He didn't even, like, I walked out and I didn't feel any better. Like, I don't understand. Like, he didn't do anything. He just gave me a bunch of exercises
to do. There's two sides to that.
To do.
Obviously, she's an idiot for expecting that you're just going to get a massage and be fixed when there's clearly a lot of stuff that I can even see from 2 seconds knowing you. And then on the other side, maybe the therapist didn't do a good job of explaining and getting them to understand the problem that is behind their pain and stuff like that. Because a lot of the improvements that we can help people with pain is to get them to understand and understand that it is a multifactorial thing and get them to,
But it's like anything. You have someone understand why they're more inclined to apply. Whatever you're getting them to do. Like, I can tell someone to eat fruits and vegetables, but if they don't understand why it's important...
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to play...
Yeah, no, I
get
it.
It's not 100% on her is what I'm saying. Yes. It's the same with anything.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's
pretty good. I think that's well
answered.
Round
up that topic.
I mean,
we could keep going, but I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm shitting on therapists and stuff like that.
No, because you go and see it. You see Dave here all the time.
Yeah, Dave's a legend. Obviously, love his work. We see Dave, the therapist in our Nexus gym here. He'll explain to people what's going on or what he believes going on, and then give a little bit of manual therapy work to help. And then if he thinks it's applicable, and then he'll take him into the gym and show him a few exercises to do and refer him to us in the gym if he thinks that they need like further coaching or like a change to their programming or stuff like that. And it's a full kind of assessment of what's going on.
The communication between the coaches and stuff like that, I think, is really important. As a coach, if you are sending your clients to manual therapists, make sure that you are getting some kind of report back. I always, I obviously don't work with strength athletes, but I think that getting a report from the physio or therapist is far more important than trying to have the client relay whatever they've been told. So we would always refer people to someone who actually we have worked with in the past and sends reports. So obviously just special shout out to Dave, StrongSide_rehab. He does do online consults and stuff like that. So we work with Dave on some things if you want to go and get some manual therapies or just online
consults.
Consults for rehab stuffs. Cool.
We'll have him on one day.
Amazing. Alrighty, next one. Kind of stays in a similar vein. Ooh. Vagal nerve stimulation. Yes or no?
We've gone deeper into this rabbit hole. No, I don't even know what the fuck
Not a
it
fan?
is, to be honest. I just like. Obviously, it's a thing, and I don't even know enough about it to really comment. To be completely honest with you, I don't know. I know that people do a lot of whack shit to try and like put it to the forefront of their fucking conversations when they're trying to get improvements with somebody. I just don't think.
Where's the vagal nerve?
There's a lot
for those don't know.
It's a very long one, isn't it? She runs a very long distance and terminates near the rectum.
I don't. Yeah, there's no.
Actually,
it's not something that
Google. We have Google.
I don't have enough like experience with it. I don't know it, and there's probably some great validity behind certain parts of it. But like everything in the industry, we like to overemphasize things and exaggerate things to sell things, and that's probably what's happened a lot here. But I can definitely say that I've never, as a lifter or coach, like put it to the focus, I guess.
Don't ask someone to get their nerves stimulated.
Yeah, so it's one of a main nerve that runs through and for the parasympathetic nerve system. I can't find where it connects into, but she fucking runs a long distance. It's a long
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about.
I just wanted to make a butthole joke because I know it has something to do with buttholes. It might be wrong. Like, I don't know. I heard it on a South Park episode, so I really don't know the validity, but that was just the one joke I wanted to make there.
I do know that there's some smart people that talk about it a lot, and I'm sure there's some validity behind it. I've never I think it's a fitness industry thing. We like to put things like just, use this stuff to kind of make things more confusing, and when our lifters or clients and stuff probably don't give a fuck, And
I mean, it most likely doesn't matter. I think a lot of the time
doesn't matter in
social media. Yeah, and then with social media and with people trying to carve a niche in whatever crevice they can find, you can latch on to things like that and really tout it as a super important aspect of most things, when in reality, the relevance that it may have is just almost nothing.
I think it's actually not in your butthole at all, but
it might not be.
Neck.
Let's trust South Park with these fucking references.
It's in your fucking neck, mate.
Yeah, but it runs. It's not short. It's not a little nerve.
But when you massage it, I'm just doing some quick searching myself now. It's more like in and around your ear and
about massage. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like stimulating, like
okay.
Yeah, just for a disclaimer, I know absolutely nothing about this nerve.
You just
I wrote these topics out real fucking quickly, and they do not get any better. So
if you're a specialist in this and you have more insight, please write in, because
we will have you on. If you are great at stimulating your vagus nerve, we will have you on an episode, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, it looks like it's more like your neck.
When you say stimulating, I think
this
is you're probably like looking at this the wrong way. Like, you're looking at it as like what we're just talking about, massaging.
I've heard some people say you can, and again, it was just floating around in my head.
I think it's more the parasympathetic. If people are saying it in reference to all the parasympathetic recovery type stuff that we do in other ways.
Okay.
We sound like Joe Rogan now when he's talking about fitness.
Yeah.
Kettlebells and such. Alrighty, next topic is going to be... next topic's banded clams.
Great. I mean, I just don't think it's a useful for what we do. No.
Why?
Well, if you think about why the average person would be doing it, it would be to like activate the glutes or warm up the glutes and things like that. And it's just not really a position that does that whatsoever. You know, it just like most people want to. If I wanted to get them to use their glutes more, it would be through some sort of like hinging activity where we're putting length through them so that they can act in the way that's appropriate. Whereas if you think about the action of a clam, it really doesn't do that whatsoever, and you're training a very non-important position, I guess.
Should we get Zach to demonstrate a clam for us?
No, we shall not. Like the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because you've been in this industry for a decent time, longer than I have.
I used to do them all the time.
Yeah, but like, where the fuck did they come from? Like, where did the general statement that every issue comes from your glutes being weak? When did that fucking start? Like, where did that come from?
Well before me, but it was when I got into it. The reason I would have started doing them was because because of the pushing your knees out in a squat, and if your knees cave in a squat, that was a bad thing. And it wasn't until kind of recent years in the industry, anyway, for me, that it's become much more widely accepted that it's probably not that bad of a thing for your knees to come slightly in a squat or whatever. So we used to try and do it. Yeah, exactly. So to even us, not valgus, most people, but anyway, so we used to do that to try and get your glutes to quote unquote activate or strengthen it in that position so that your knees didn't come in and you'd do it like pre-squatting or something like that, so that when you were pushing your knees out in a squat, it was kind of like that motion was strengthened and everything. Even though it just makes absolutely no sense, like talking about it like that, thinking back on it, but because just things like activating in general, like it's not really a thing, and then pushing your knees out to that extreme anyway. Not a thing, because we used to do it like literally, like, like you push them so far out that you're fucking on the edges, you're balancing on the complete edge of your shoe type thing, which
maximizes stability.
I'm not against
maximizes the glute power.
Yeah, I'm not against holding them in position during a squat or like doing that sort of action to some degree. I'm not saying that like, hey, you should try and get your knees to touch during a squat. We're not trying to like advocate the opposite either, but it's just to push your knees out to the point where you're balancing on the edge of your shoes is absolutely not ideal, because at some point during the squat, if you want to hit depth and if you want to come back up, you're going to have to push through the rest of your foot as well.
Something's going to have to rotate. And I mean,
something's going to have to move.
The more stuff that I look at, like random fruity shit with just how you can create and farm stimulus and just how any movement's good movement, I could see some form of application that if like your life's like someone who just got a divorce and you're drinking to feel something, if you just want to feel something and you do 15,000 clams, something will happen. Like you'll feel something and there'll be blood in tissues and it's probably not going to be a bad thing.
But you'll absolutely feel anything doing anything. You know what I mean?
That's the point. It's kind of like, it comes down to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is 5-minute isometrics, which if you do enough of something, no matter how low level it is, something will happen. It just depends on how many of them you're willing to do.
It's easy to make something suck, and that's not the measure of benefit.
Not at all.
So, like, if you do enough glute clams, absolutely, your glutes are going to be on fire. Well, at least, like what you think your glute, like the side of your hips going to be on fire and stuff like that, and you're going to be like, wow, this is fucking amazing. My glutes are getting heaps stronger. But at the end of the day, you're doing like a fucking 3 kilo band, you know what I mean? And 100 plus kilo RDL is probably going to be strengthening your hips and your hip extension, the main motion that your glutes do a lot better. And then there's way better exercises we can keep going on for glutes. So, I mean, it just doesn't... Just get if you want to strengthen a muscle, you want to put it through range and you want to do the thing that it's actually designed to do. And then if you want to get better at a skill, aka squatting and not having your knees come in, like you should probably do squats and focus on not letting that happen during a squat. And then combine those two things together, strengthening the muscle the way it's, through range, like through lengthening and shortening it properly, and
through patterning,
and then through the skill of the motion that you want to get better at, and combine these two things together, and that's where the magic is. Just feeling something doesn't necessarily mean it's
like you can
better.
sit there. You always use the analogy of like flexing your bicep, right? Like I can sit here and like flex my bicep for days.
If I flex my bicep for this whole podcast, I'm going to be like, fuck, my biceps like absolutely pumped right now, but it's not getting stronger from it. I'm not building tissue that way unless I have never moved in my life, or just fucking had surgery on my arm and it's absolutely at the base level of just detrained. So
here's something that's always confused me with that, because like as you know, I've been looking at kind of like some weird fruity shit, and really extended isometrics have been things that have come up in viewing such things, which it kind of
isometrics in
me.
general have gained some momentum in the last few years for good reason, I feel.
They're fucking great, but what always confused me was, I forgot who I was listening to, but they were like somewhat of a reputable strength coach going through it, saying that if you hold that position for long enough, there is a certain amount of stimulus that tissue is going to accrue, and if you fucking do it enough, a stimulus will happen. But he never said what type of stimulus, and it confused me to the point of like...
Stimulus is a dangerous word.
Yeah, it confused me because like, okay, you'll probably open up some form of range of motion
This is another thing, like opening up range of motion. Like you can do anything to open up, and it'll open up a range of motion of something. Like if I lay you on a table right now and measure every range of, joint range of motion in your body objectively, like on a table whilst you're relaxed and in that position, and then we went and did fucking anything, like some, had to put you on the ground and said roll around like a toddler, and then you did that or whatever, or you
for
just
5 minutes
did a SpongeBob fucking running around in circles, waving your hands in the air type action. If we do that, we come back, and I guarantee, we're going to see some change.
Well, that's the point that I want to get to. Like, with things like activation, with things like really specialized mobility drills, if you can achieve the same thing by just holding a push-up position for 3 minutes, like, it really doesn't fucking matter. Like, you're really trying to drill, okay, this is a specific drill to achieve this specific outcome, when if you can achieve that same outcome with something completely non-specific, doesn't it throw the validity of the specific thing into question? Because it's not the fact that the clam did something good because of the exercise that it is, but you've just done exercise. And exercise has provided a stimulus which was beneficial to the task at hand. Which I think is what the mechanism that people are relying on to do such a thing.
Yeah, you can get real deep into warm-ups and activations and improving range of motions and all this stuff, and it's all great stuff but the context is extremely important.
Because I'm just trying to find the simplest way to achieve the task. Like, what's the simplest thing you can do to get the result? And like we've come to a lot of people, like, fuck, a couple of minutes on an assault bike, probably just a great option.
Yeah, that's the first step, and then some sort of skill movement, as in like getting better at the thing you're about to do is probably the next thing, and then you like anything training, you gauge your response from that, and you see if it improves the thing that you're trying to improve, and then you adjust. It's the same as anything.
All things that we actually will be teaching in our upcoming mentorship.
It's the Nexus Performance 5-minute isometric mentorship. Through the live calls, you will actually be holding different isometrics to open up range.
Imagine that. Like, we all hold like a squat position rather than sitting on a chair or some shit.
That would suck.
I wouldn't be able to teach. I'd just be like, this is terrible.
Just breathing heavily into the microphone. But yeah, okay, that covered the topic. I am very quickly running out of topics. The next topic was...
Did you actually want to... I was going to say, if you wanted to actually give some benefit, I don't know where you learnt the 5-minute isometric, where that even fucking comes from.
Oh, it was, he fucking called it extreme isometrics. It was in a podcast I listened to. I completely fucking forgot the dude's name. Completely queefed on it. But it has, like, and I've been playing around with it. And it feels fucked after you've done it. And you feel pretty good for a while.
Of course. Yeah.
And it was like, like, my hips felt great. I did a split squat isometric for 3 minutes each side, and I was like, okay, that was really hard, and it felt pretty good. And isn't that the point of exercise to some extent? Like, if I can do that before a squat, like, you're doing something really hard before doing something else really hard. It's probably better than doing something really easy and not being in a mind state to actually be able to push an activity.
I just think, you're probably like pushing the boundaries of like what we need. It's like if we want to, like we've talked about and conditioning on the podcast before, if we want to improve somebody's, like a powerlifter, a person whose goal is powerlifting, if we want to improve their cardio, like where the minimum threshold lies is probably, like there's going to be a bit where like we get to a certain amount of fitness or a certain amount, and then everything after that is still going to be beneficial to some degree, but it's like the ROI on it is just a little bit skewed against us. Like, it's like, oh, fuck, no point going from pretty damn fit and easily able to do everything that powerlifting requires. And if we get 10% fitter than that, is it really that big of a deal? Like, it's not bad, but it's like, And it's the same thing with that. Like, I would argue that there's probably things a little bit more time efficient and that would get, and just more... shorter and more effective and easier that would probably get the same result in terms of the carryover into the squat or whatever you're about to do. You know what I mean? So I think there's plenty of things that we could do, but it's about picking the most efficient, effective way to get there.
You could certainly make the argument that, and it makes it a bit wanky because it goes more into like psychological preparedness more than anything.
Yeah.
Like if you had somebody do 2x8 split squats before they start squatting, you're probably going to achieve the exact same physiological preparedness.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some difference. But yeah.
There's some difference, but it's going to be reasonably similar. But you could make the argument that the thing that was really difficult has now shifted you into a more sympathetic state to drive towards training.
Yeah,
you can. But again,
we're talking in the realm of
anything.
Healthy people, because I'm sure we could talk about rehab situations and other situations where like completely like other places where it would be way more benefit to do that.
We're down 6 rabbit holes and off to the left with this here. I'm not arguing the validity of isometrics, because they're fucking great. I'm like very specifically, because I was talking to Charles, my client, and I was like, hey man, I learned this new thing. Do you want to fucking try it? I think I gave him to Alex as well, just to see what happened.
Yeah. I can say that I haven't seen Alex do it. Not
I think he did it at home. And I was like, look, we'll just fucking see, because I mean, it's just another thing to have fun with, another thing to do, I guess. You should do it. After pro roll, you should do a 4-minute split squat isometric and see what happens. Who knows? You might squat 400 then.
I don't know. It's like 20 reps squats. You know, like Stan Efforting always used to go on about like 20 rep breathing squats will change your life. As in like, it's so fucking hard and terrible that it'll just make you like a tougher person because of it. Or whatever. That's kind of the
yeah, but then you do it like 2 times and you give up because it's like, I don't want to fucking do that. That's stupid.
And it's just so much constraint. Like you're just so like if your fitness is lacking or your strength is lacking, like there's so many like things that can hold you back from doing any. Like it's just other than the mental, probably a huge waste of time in regards to like actual powerlifting performance.
And then for the most part, like being mentally strong for powerlifting probably isn't super important. Like I've never met a group of people, myself included, that complains as much as powerlifters do. Like, fuck me, I will whinge about the most mild inconvenience.
Yeah. Oh, I have to do 15 minutes of cardio, bro? Are you fucking serious?
Like, the fan's blowing in my face while I'm deadlifting. It's going to loosen my hook grip.
Yeah, too hard.
Oh, wow.
I'm under-recovered for sure. Need 8 ice baths for that one. But we do. It's I don't want to say, some people go as far as saying like, powerlifting is an easy sport and that that every other sport is so much tougher. It depends on so many different things. It depends like how far do you want to go. Like it's easier to become mediocre in powerlifting, sure. But then like anything done to a higher level, like there are aspects that make it hard. And in powerlifting, like sure, one block of powerlifting is easy, but doing that for 10 years and still maintaining like your lots of different qualities and you're keeping your body together.
I think doing any sport is easy when you
suck
to a mediocre level. Yeah, exactly.
I could be a fantastic shit soccer player. I could fucking be shit at soccer in like 4 weeks.
You're doing really well with your dunks and your sprints.
People that say that, I'm just like, man, come on, man. Anything at a higher level when you're pushing the boundaries is fucking hard. Like, don't say that.
You can't discredit something just because it isn't the same as something else. Like that's fucking silly.
Anyway, well, yeah, that could go a dangerous direction. So we'll go on to whatever you have.
That's right. That led to a good place. Yeah, we're running out. So the next one, I don't know why I wrote this one. The next one's six times a week bench frequency. We were talking about fucking Joey Swallosaurus. What the fuck was his name? Flexi tape.
US APL drama that's going on at the moment. Yeah, whatever. We won't go into that too much. That's for sure.
Incredibly high bench frequency.
Just high frequency of anything, and obviously we've done episodes on frequency in general. But for the most part, my argument is always like, but why? Like anything, it's just like it might be beneficial in 1% of situations, but for the most part, people are going to feel confident and comfortable in their bench press technique and be able to maintain, if not improve, their bench press technical prowess. Like feel good at benching and get better at benching through less. And
what would you say?
I've seen this detriment to some people. Like if you're doing 6 times a week, you're probably doing like a couple of sets on each one. Like surely you're not doing like a huge amount of volume on each of those days, and if you are, like, it would be to an incredibly low intensity, I imagine. So like everything, it has to be balanced, and then you have to argue whether and perhaps doing less frequency with a higher intensity and higher volume is potentially better. And for most people, I would say it would. And also just the last one is these are just, like we went through on frequency, is just impractical to like 99% of the population. It's just fucking like absolute shit to get in there. But I've seen people, usually it's a certain type of person that will just buy into it and go like more is better, and really like believe in it and then tout it, and then they'll do it for a while and then realize that, you know, they'll get great results at first, because when you practice something a whole lot, you usually get better at that thing pretty fucking quick. So like the skill aspect comes really fast from it, but then it, you know, slowly over time starts to beat you up a bit more and just not be as pleasurable as it first was, and then not bring the results as it first did, and then you'll go like, this is probably stupid, and bring it back down.
So what would you say is your average frequency?
2 to 3. 3 for 2 to 4 even, I would say. I've a bunch of people that bench. Yeah, probably 3 is the most common that I would program. Then obviously you have lots of people doing 2, like myself. I'm doing 2 at the moment in the comp. This prep. In the other preps I've done 3, and then I have a bunch of people that do 4 as well, but they're typically
smaller,
framed people, and can just handle it. For, you know, like they've built up that capacity, that tolerance over time. It wasn't just like, oh hey, yeah, what, you want to do powerlifting now? 4 times, yeah, definitely. Like it just they built that up over years or whatever, and it can now do it. And
some people just genuinely love benching the most out of all of it. In which case, if it's something that
the shape of your body's going to come into it as well. If you have if you are a really inefficient, crappy bench presser and just not built for it, it's probably not wise to do that thing a ton, because your recovery curve is going to be a bit longer. Yeah, there's tons of considerations with this, but for the most part, I'm yet to program a 6 times a week bench press, and I don't feel like it. Well, I'm going to
pull back to that last statement as well. Like, if you have someone who's just fucking got arms longer than, I don't know, I'm not going to say that. They have long arms.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
There was going to be something there that I should have said.
Well, like Aaron Sim, for example.
Yeah, like if you have incredibly long arms and you're sitting at home at night and you're like, fuck, all right, I'm probably never going to be great at bench press. Like, no amount of drugs, no amount of special bench training is going to make up for the fact that you have 18-foot arms. Like, fuck, it's just going to be rough for you. Like,
Aaron Sim was longer fingertip to fingertip than he was head to toe.
Yeah, and that's some fucking, it makes it hard to bench. And something that I see a lot with those people is they'll try and go the route of, okay, I've got shit leverages, we're going to try and maximize the efficiency that I have access to, we're going to bench fucking heaps, I'm going to take my grip out super wide, going to be super unstable and just have an awful time. It's like, if you're not great at benching, sometimes the route of doing a less technical style press and just focusing on getting a bit bigger, benching like a fucking bro, probably isn't an awful option. Like, you're probably trading, fucking 5 kilos for efficiency at that point, and it won't feel like shit, and you might enjoy it more if you just pound close grip bench and have a great time doing it. I don't know. That's what happened to me in the end. I was like, definitely. Just
getting
bro bench. Fucking
getting just stronger at the movement is an underrated method of improving a lift.
Which is so fucking stupid. And everyone's like, oh, maximize efficiency. Like, no, just train.
Yeah, just do both.
Get stronger.
Please, like, it just, you know, like if you happen to like do full jab grip style and contort yourself into a mess and that to improve your bench press 5 kilos, whereas you could have just put on a little bit of muscle a lot of the time. You know, that would have been an easier route and led to less problems.
That's the one thing that I miss from like older powerlifting. Like the goal of older powerlifting, I say that as if I'm fucking like, I've been here for 50 years. Yeah. I'm definitely not. But like when I was first starting into powerlifting, the goal was like, get jacked, get strong. And in some cases, for a lot of coaches, it was use coaching to cultivate a mass following of women and then try your hand. That's changed, which is a great positive. Like, there's far less sexual predators as powerlifting coaches now.
Okay.
But
we're not going down that route, Zach.
But the goal is to get strong, and you know what? That was fun. Tam might have to cut that.
Still is. No, don't. It's still,
I don't know where I was going
still
there.
is. It still is, but it's like, yeah, well, hopefully, both. Like, do both. Get bigger, stronger at the movement in the muscles that you need. Like I said before, like if you focus on getting the prime movers bigger, and then also get better at the movement from a skill aspect, which you can do in programming. Hey, we have different days for different things with different focuses, different phases, periodization, whatever you want to call it. You can achieve all these things. You know, you should have a plan to improve the lift from multiple aspects. But if your plan is just to bench 6 times a week, year round, and never get any bigger and just get ultra efficient, I'm sorry to say, but like you can only get so efficient, and then eventually you'll run out of efficiency, and you might put 2 kilos on your bench press a year, and you know, great.
Next topic.
I'm running low. A lot of the topics we've already touched on. We keep going in circles. I had a cuing knees in on a squat, but we kind of already talked about that. You got anything else on?
A little bit. No, we can go a little bit. I feel like, we did mention it a little bit, but I didn't get to clarify it. I'm not saying that. Just cues are training wheels. Cues are to put are a tool for your coach to use, or for yourself to use, that are going to get you to focus on something and to make changes potentially happen if we do it right. But they're, at the end of the day, when things get hard enough, when they get heavy enough, like your body is going to rely on its strengths and choose the best path that it's got to get a movement done, and to get the task which you have given it done. You know, so like at some point those are going to have to come off, and you trust me, like we've said this multiple times, when you get under a 1RM squat, if you're strong enough, you're not going to have all these cues running through your head and be able to like put full focus into them, because you're going to be focusing on just not fucking having your face slam into the ground at the bottom of the squat and your knees break or whatever. Like, you're just going to literally just be focused on like surviving on the day, and all the training reps that you've done before with those training wheels, they're going to be they're going to like build those habits, build those patterns and things like that your body is just going to revert to on the day, and build those strengths, I guess. So it's just, so it's okay to do sometimes, but just if you're going to use these cues, whether it's knees in, knees out, knees forward, knees back, whatever, chest up, chest down, whatever, it's to kind of create the pattern that you want and to strengthen that pattern. And then, when it comes to the day, when it comes to displaying that strength, it's going to be a sum of all those reps.
Yeah, it matters a lot more that you're moving towards positions that you know to some extent can handle max loading, because there's certain positions that are going to work fantastic until it gets heavy enough. Like the amount of people, and this shits me to no end, when someone like completely pulls the load back to like sub 20% to rebuild their technique, and then as soon as it gets heavy again, it just looks the fucking same. It's like you haven't
actually got stronger.
Yeah, you didn't rebuild your technique. You detrained, felt a bit better, and then as soon as it gets heavy again, you're going to utilize the same strategies, because you're not a different person.
Yeah,
you're always going to leverage.
That's actually something I wanted to talk to you about, was like the whole like pain-free,
pain-free powerlifting,
pain-free lifting, or you know, people like, oh yes, I'm finally squatting pain-free, and it's like 50 kilos when they're previously like a few 100-kilo squatter or whatever.
Yeah, I've been doing some updates to our book on managing injuries, managing pain within powerlifting just recently, and one of the floated titles was pain-free powerlifting, and then I was just like, I can't use that, because it just doesn't fucking exist. Like, to be completely honest with everybody, like in any high level sport, or even like, amateur kind of, like, you've been doing it a while, like there's going to be niggles, there's going to be little things that pop up, potentially because of stuff you've done wrong, potentially because of stuff you've done right, like specificity and prepping for a comp and stuff like that. Like, there's just going to be things that come up, and as long as you're viewing it as like this this is a thing. How do I deal with it? As opposed to like freaking out and going like, I'm fucking broken, you know, like powerlifting, fuck, my life's over. As long as you're not having that full emotional response to it, and then try have it at first, like we said before. But like, as long as you're thinking logically about it and going like, what can I do about this, and viewing it in that way, then it's all going to be okay. So like, it doesn't exist. Like at some point, you're going to have little things pop up, and you're going to have to just work out a solution to it. Just understanding that there's speed bumps, not complete fucking stop signs.
Like, there's always a workaround, and to some people's dismay, that workaround is a different position. Like, eventually a position's going to exceed its tolerance to deal with load, and something will hurt, so you trade it for a different position that will eventually hurt in a different way. I've become way less charitable to pain since changing the way that I've trained, because by all accounts, I don't train super heavy. I do a lot of different stuff. I should be feeling pretty good. And do you know what I still have?
Your perception of heavy, though, like you're still squatting over 200 kilos, I was seeing like not long ago. You know, your perception of what heavy is.
No, let me rephrase. I'm not training at high intensities for a lot of those movements.
Yeah.
And guess what I still have? Pain. Me Achilles is fucked, me foot's fucked, me elbow's fucking sore, and I'm training to try to avoid being in pain.
Of course.
And guess what? You do one kind of stupid thing, like max out your sprints 2 sessions in and you tear your hamstring. Like, it's gonna come. If you're pursuing an athletic endeavor, something's gonna hurt. Like, it always will.
Yeah, at some point.
You're doing cool things with your body. Just...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not a goal to chase. It's not a goal to chase.
You'll
it's
never
just
get
part
there.
of the journey.
You will never get to being
completely
pain-free.
sidetracked.
We did. We're going back to the knees in thing.
That was great. Look at that. We just had a productive discussion.
But to bring it back to that, I've had people who I've done like technique sessions with and stuff like that who were pushing their knees out because, you know, that's what the internet said, so hard that they were riding up on the edges of their shoes and their knees were just knees or hips or whatever, wherever the point of pain was, just completely fucked at that point. And they're like, man, I just can't work it out. My knees hurt. I'm trying to push my knees out even further to try and get around it. I just don't understand. And then I've said, man, like look at the video back. Like a quarter of your foot, not even that, is on the ground. Let's try having your feet on the ground. Simple as that sounds. And so like, hey, let's stop pushing them out as aggressively. I'm not saying push them in. I don't want them to touch or whatever. Just try to have your feet on the ground. And then they're like, wow, that feels way better. My knees don't hurt or whatever it was. And also it's a way stronger movement. It's like, okay.
For you, weren't you, cool. I know there was a phase where you just said, I don't fucking care what my knees do. I just, make sure that I've got planted feet and, if you need...
So I still coach that to some degree. But again, like I said about the cues and the training wheels, like sometimes... If they're going in a little bit, I'm going to tell them to push them out. If they're pushing it out too far, I'm going to tell them to like not do that and go in. Yeah. So it's guiding
Same
them
thing
in
as
the right
like your
direction.
elbows on your bench, like you don't really care.
Yeah, I'm not going to give them a one universal thing. I'm just going to try and guide them to what I view as the ideal in that situation for that person. And again, things like their leg length or their height or like how they squat, the stance that they use are all going to maybe change what I view as ideal. But so I might use. Yeah, all these different stuff for different people. But
a good analogy for that's like giving yourself a haircut. Like as a coach, you're just sitting there looking at things like, oh, fucking change it a bit here, take a bit off there, see what happens. And eventually you stumble upon something, but it's not like, oh, yep, if you walk in and you know exactly what you're going to tell the person. I would never get a haircut
by you.
I cut Dakota's hair once, did a great job, just putting it out there. Like if
I want to hear her opinion on that.
If you
Dakota also had like a shaved head at one point though, so if you're literally classifying like shaving the side of her head as a haircut, like...
I think it counts. But if you're going to a coach and... you know exactly what they're going to change in your lift before they look at you move, fucking run. Like, same thing with a physio. If you know exactly what that physio is going to give you, without looking, without asking, without prodding slightly. Because look, the alteration or the position, it could be perfect for you. Don't get me wrong. Being strong has commonalities, and normally very strong people lift and move very, very similar because they're fucking really good at it. But you gotta look. You can't just assume, especially if someone's doshing out cash to you. Just fucking take a look, and then it's like, okay, cool, looks great. Change this. But if they're just throwing something at you saying, this will work. Don't stress. I know what I'm doing. This is it. Fucking get onto it. Like, it's kind of questionable.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then we can keep going further down this, but it's just like the cues are part of the puzzle, and then the loads and constraints that we put on them in, tempo or like position of the bar and stuff is another part of the technique and what the outcome's going to be. So there's multiple aspects as to like how they're going to move and the outcome that we're going to get from it. So it's an all round thing. If I'm giving you an RP10 like full on grinder 5 rep squat, and your technique breaks down a little bit from ideal, I'm just going to be like, fuck,
cool.
Like, all right, like, good effort. Like, honestly, like pushing through it was fucking hard. I get it. I've been there. But so that's not the time to change things. Whereas the time to change things is, like I said, when you can think about it, when the loads are light enough, when the constraints are there to allow you to.
Yeah. And like,
next topic.
Is there any more?
There was.
We'll let Zach finish.
No, I had sleeves versus wraps, but that's kind of shit. It's like, cool, whatever you want to do.
Well, yeah, but it depends. Yeah, you can take this conversation so many different. What do you prefer? Is that what you're asking? Because for me, if we take it that direction, like I wear wraps in competition. The only time I haven't worn wraps was my first competition, which I did in sleeves, because it just didn't seem like I had enough time. Like, I committed to this comp, and then 2 months out, I'm like, oh fuck, this is a wrapped competition. Like, then my coach was like, oh, are you going to wear wraps? And I was like, well, it just seems too hard. So, and squats were going great in sleeves. I was making sick progress because.
What did you squat?
I just come out of bodybuilding, so like I hadn't actually ever practiced heavy shit. So like my heavy reps were just going through the roof because I'd never fucking done them before, type thing. Well, not much anyway.
You went over like 180 and you were like, fuck, what? More than 4 plates? This is a thing?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, so I was just getting like great adaptations from doing heavy shit more regularly. And at that point I decided, hey, like, I'm just going to do sleeves because like it's going great, and then, fuck it. If it, whatever, I'm not going to try and learn a new skill this close to competition. And I went really well, squatted to 80.
Under 100?
Then still the strongest sleeve squat I've ever done, because since then I changed to wraps, and then every time it gets to that weight, I'm putting on wraps. So maybe I should try and beat that PB one day, and then I can put up, yes, that's a good plan. Then I can put up on Instagram that I hit a PB and shit. Get the clout. But
take on Anthony in the sleeve section.
He's too strong. Nah, no way.
I reckon if he shaved his beard, he'd lose half of his total. Don't know why.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll shave it.
I reckon it's like, I reckon there's power in it. There's something.
I reckon what we might do is just like, in Jackass, how they used to like do, and it's like, like shave people. I would do that like
yes. I reckon
in the middle of his chin,
very upset,
and just have is it Wolverine that did the whole like middle of his chin?
On set, they're literally like getting paid to get pranked and do dumb shit. Like, to us, it would just be.
Yeah. So how about Mickey at Pro Raw? I'm gonna run around with a pair of clippers and see if I can get the back of your head. If you're okay with that, then you can do it to Anthony.
Oh no, definitely not. I'm a girl. It's different.
Right.
Yeah. So I haven't done sleeves since. But if you ask me, like, with the popularity of sleeves now, because the only reason I changed is because like it was a wrapped fed, and that was kind of my option. And I was going to Pro Raw after that.
The other option was
Pro Raw 7, and then I was like, fuck. Well, if I don't wear wraps, I'm at a disadvantage to these other dudes, and I'm gonna get beaten. So like, fuck it. I want to win. I want to, do the best I can, so I'm going to wear wraps. And even though if you go back and look at my Pro Raw 7 videos, they were the loosest wraps you've ever seen in your life. There was like a fucking meter hanging off them, and like they were hardly even around my knees. I actually remember, because Thomas came, my coach after that, Tyler, my friend Tyler, he was wrapping my knees, and he was doing such a fucking average job. Like, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We're just like, oh, you just put these around your knee. And I remember Thomas walking past us to the comp out the back, coaching his athletes, and he was just like, gave us this dirty look, like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, I just remember, absolutely no tension. I only bet slightly better than sleeves anyway. But
and since that day, Thomas has handled you at
since then I learned what tight wraps were. But if I could go back and if raw, as in like sleeved powerlifting was as big as it is now, back when I started, I think I would just stayed in sleeves because it's like it's fucking heaps easier. Like you rock up to the gym, like you don't need an old mate to wrap you, or like I could self-wrap, but that's kind of a pain in the ass, and then just your sessions get done a bit quicker. You can get more volume in because of it. Like it's just an easier process. So like I think if I could go back and do that, whereas now like I feel like if I went back, it's like I'd have to learn to
squat,
do heavy sleeved ones because I don't do heavy sleeve ones. I do reps in sleeves and stuff. But anyway, like it's just like you said with this, where it started. Like it is a personal preference thing, but thought of me. What about yourself? Like if you came back and competed now.
Well, he was raw dog in his last.
I would not touch wraps again. Like and being someone who I think the most I ever squatted was like 255 in sleeves. Like that was the most I ever squatted, and then wraps gave me a fuckload of extra weight. Knowing that wraps give me a lot, still wouldn't touch them. Just the amount of extra time that you lose to put those fuckers on.
So to give indication, well, you don't actually have your raw squat on here. On open powerlifting, that looks like the last comp that you did, which was the APL comp, I think.
Yeah, the raw dog.
Yeah, your totals aren't on open powerlifting, but
they're on two separate names. The bloke misspelt my name in the first one, so they're all split across different accounts.
Fucking dad.
You should email him about that.
Who was it? Who misspelt your name? Fucking Anthony, I betcha. Congo wrong. You can't even spell your name right, so
that's very fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, but it is
330 was your 330 was your top wrapped squat.
It wasn't a bad squat, but fuck, it didn't feel too good. Didn't feel nice.
Wraps are not fun. For
no,
anybody that
not
thinks
at all.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to come in and do wraps, it's heaps of fun. Like, yeah, fuck that.
It's like, no, they're awful. And like just based off that, I would happily give less total to not have to put them on. But it was different.
Again, it's
it's
because you don't give a fuck about winning.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, like, I did it at the Pro Raw 7 where when I first did it, I was like, well, motherfucker, like, I'm going to
win.
Absolutely do my best to beat all these fuckers. So,
actually, you were just chasing down Alex Deacon, so let's be honest.
No, he was just the name that was closest that I like to give myself a target. So Alex was the target for that one because I was like, I can potentially beat him. Like, I want to aim.
Whereas Nathan
I want
Jones
somebody to push me. Yeah, Nathan and Bass and all those guys at that point were so far ahead. I was like, well, there's no point setting the fucking goalposts of beating them because I'm going to get disappointed. So like I set myself somebody who was like fairly close to my total, and they were my kind of target for
your nemesis.
Yeah, in my head, not because I was like, oh yeah. It's not like 6 months before I'm like this fucking Alex guy. It was like in the prep, I saw that our numbers were similar, and I was like, that was my kind of goalpost for myself. Like I have to have a target in my head.
On that same token too, if you have friends rapping with you, very different. Like if you have a full crew, raps become way more fun. But if it's just you sitting alone in a room by yourself with fucking stretchy bandages, God, it's awful.
It just takes a lot of time. It's just a pain in the ass. Yeah, when we had the P2C crew going on up here and stuff like that, and there was like 5 of us on a mono, and it was like kind of like a
4-hour squat session.
Not only that, but like a pit crew almost. One person's doing their squat, and then we all spot him, and then then the next person sits down straight away, and like you're wrapping them so they can get done. Because otherwise, if you just dawdle between and you're not prepared, it takes way longer again. So like it was really like a real pit crew team fucking vibe to it, and it made it kind of fun. Whereas if that at that point, we're talking like whatever 5 years ago, whatever. If you were the sleeved guy in the corner, being like,
you get bullied.
You were the one left out, type of thing. So it was, the evolution of the sport has
changed.
It's just changed. Like I said, if I could do sleeve now and be, and it was as popular as it is now, when I started, I probably just would have done that, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm. Whatever's more popular at the time, I guess.
Yeah, you just do what everyone else is doing.
Follow the crowd.
Cool. All right.
That's all my questions.
Leaving it there?
No, that was
leaving it there.
We got there.
Yeah.
That's some good
got
conversation.
through your...
Not as chaotic. We covered some topics. Well, probably pissed a few people off.
That's all right. Fuck them.
Boxes ticked.
If you get mad at a podcast, fucking go do something productive. Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, there's just so much context in a lot of these topics that it's absolutely not.
I think you gave 5 to 10 minutes per topic, so
there's no way that you can cover every caveat and every piece of every bit of information. That's
when it comes to all these things that you mentioned, there are pros and cons to literally everything, and that's a thing that we say in the mentorship a lot when it comes to a variation or high volume or low volume or this or that or that. There are trade-offs. There are pros and cons to literally everything, and so you have to look at the situation that you're dealing with and the outcome that you're chasing and all this stuff. If you want to, it's not that if anybody says this is bad or this is good, other than a very short list, then they're more than likely wrong in what they're saying.
But it's also fun to talk mad schmack.
Yes. The Instagram. If you don't have catchy headlines on an Instagram and stuff like that, then you're going to get scrolled past. So I guess you have to some degree.
Not having relevance.
Not getting likes.
Not getting likes. Fuck. If you don't get likes, what are you doing?
What's life?
What's life without likes? How do you validate yourself?
All right, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Well, after this, I'm guessing will be the Pro Raw kind of recap, or
this was the Pro Raw recap. Everyone did well.
The next one, so we'll I don't have a clue because
you don't know what order these episodes are coming out. Mate,
I've done podcasts literally the day after big competitions before, and they never go well because I'm just absolutely fucking ruined. I'm always going into the podcast or thinking to myself why did I say I would do this thing? So
yeah, we'll see. This might be a banked episode, might not be. We'll see how we go. All right.
Make bank, you buddy.
Bye.
Red hot. Thank you for listening to Nexus Unloaded. Be sure to jump on our website to find details on everything mentioned on today's podcast, plus information on our coaching, mentoring, and gym services. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at NexusPerformance.Aus for any updates on what we are currently doing. See you all in the next episode.